Hey dolls, Rare Beauty did it again. They just recently launched their new Rare Beauty Soft Pinch Liquid Contour, and I got three shades. I got them as soon as they were available online, and I got 1 day shipping from Sephora. So I've been playing around with this liquid contours for about 3 days now. And you know that we don't just do first impression in this channel. So today we are going to do swatches. We're going to look how it looks like on top of makeup, underneath powder, and of course an 8-hour wear test to see if this formula really holds up. So let's get started. Okay, so let's talk about details first. This is Rare Beauty's first ever liquid contour, and it's designed to be blendable, lightweight, and beginner friendly. And just like their blush, it has this like soft, airy, very skin-like finish. I'm just gonna swatch the liquid contour on my hand. That's a liquid contour, and this is the blush. As you can see, they're both very pigmented, but they're also very, very thin. As I've mentioned, I got three shades, and I bought this from my own money. This is not sponsored, this is not PR, so there's no bias here. So the first shade is Gentle, and this is described as a fair, cool taupe. This is a very cool tone contour shade, almost gray, and it's perfect for a natural shadow effect on the perimeter of your face, your jawline, and on your nose. I especially like this on my nose because I don't like a warm tone when contouring my nose. I just feel like for my nose, I really need the shadow effect. For my forehead and my cheeks, even if it's warm, I find that it still complements my skin tone. But on my nose, every time I put anything warm to contour, it looks like I have a sunburn instead of like creating a shadow. Also, because shadows aren't warm toned, they have a cool grayish hue. So this cool tone contour shade creates a more realistic sculpted look. This for me is the perfect contour shade if you have a fair complexion and a very soft feature. Think of K-pop idols or Korean actresses. If you would notice, their contour is always cool toned, it's never warm, and it's almost undetectable. You could also notice it on this photo where I put the Gentle liquid contour on my right side, and then there's no contour shade on my left side. You can see that the right side really mimics the color of the shadow that I have on my left side. So it's very, very subtle, and it just really creates that perfect shadow. The next shade is Mellow, which is described as a light cool brown. This to me is my favorite shade because I find that this is the perfect balance of a cool and warm tone. It's almost neutral. And if you are my shade twin, I think that this is the safe shade for us. And I like putting this on top of Gentle on my cheeks, so I don't have a streak of gray on my cheeks. I have more of that gradient. As you can see here, I put Gentle and then Mellow, so it doesn't jump into like the gray shadow and then light color. So it has that gradient effect. So the next shade is Solace, which is described as a medium cool taupe. This is a deeper shade that looks amazing on medium, darker olive skin tones. I thought I was in trouble the first time I used this, but since the formula really melts into the skin, it didn't look muddy or too much. It still looks very natural, but I find that the intensity of the color is really there. So if you are my shade twin and if you're going for an event, you know that you'll be photographed, you know that you'll be in front of bright lights, I think this is the safer shade choice. I like using the shade on my double chin and on my huge forehead. I find that this really creates that shadow, as you can tell. And I think that it works on areas that are bigger. Like I have a bigger space here, and I find that Solace really helps me in contouring and shading those areas. Now, application test, I've used a synthetic brush with it. I've also used I don't have the brush that Rare Beauty sells. I think that I'm gonna get it because I think that the natural fiber of that brush really helps in depositing the product. But I use my MAC. What is this? I think it's a 130. 160. Oh my god, I can't see the number, but it's this natural fiber brush that it's like slanted. So I use this, and I think that this is the best tool to use with the liquid contour because it really melts onto the skin. I find that the natural fiber of the brush doesn't absorb the product too much, and so it blends really well and deposit the pigment really well on the skin. I find that the beauty sponge and the synthetic brush really absorbs the product, and it doesn't really layer the pigment well on the skin. So if you are having trouble with the liquid contour not showing on your face, I think that you need to change your tool and change into a natural fiber brush so that you can really deposit the pigment. And then if you need to blend everything out, or if you need to remove any excess, that's the only time you can use a sponge because this can really absorb the product. But honestly, the formula really fused so well into the skin. So it's really hard to go wrong with it. When I used Solace the first time and I used a brush and I deposited a lot on my face, again, I thought I was going to be in trouble, but it really fused so well onto the skin, and it really looks very, very skin-like. But again, if you want precision and stronger pigment, go with the natural fiber brush. The next test is how does it work on top of makeup and underneath powder. It really fused so well onto the skin. It didn't disturb the foundation I have on. And also when I used the powder, it didn't look cakey or muddy. It just really looks very, very natural. Although on the powdered side, the contour is a bit softer, but still very visible. And then on the powder side, it retains a dewy skin-like finish, but I am not gonna risk not powdering my face because I know that if I don't and if I just spray a setting spray, it would still move. But this formula really layers well under powder. It doesn't lift, it doesn't get patchy, it doesn't look cakey. So another tick on its claims. Now, the last test is wearability because they also claim that these liquid contours are very wearable, and I've worn them for 8 hours, and this is how it looks like on the 2 hour mark. On the 4th hour mark, on the 6th hour mark, and finally on the 8th hour. On the 8th hour, it's still very visible, even though my face is very oily. It faded a bit, but it faded very gently. There's no patchiness. You can still really see my contour, especially on my nose. So this formula is impressively long wearing and it fades evenly, which is a very huge plus in my books. So is the new Rare Beauty Soft Pinch Liquid Contour worth it? For me, it's a big yes. I love that it is super blendable and lightweight, and it's true to its claim. It's never muddy, it's never cakey, and never patchy or greasy. I also love that it is foolproof for beginners. As you can see, even if you put too much, it's easy to really blend them out, and it's very, very skin-like, and it really fuses onto your skin. So it looks very natural every time. It also layers beautifully on top of makeup and underneath powder. And lastly, it's very long wearing even after an 8 hour wear. I think that if you're looking for an effortless contour that melts into your skin and is very long wearing, this is for you. The only con I have with this, actually, it's not even a con. I think it's just a suggestion. If you are going to an event, if you're going to be photographed in bright lights, I think that you should still put a powder contour and powder bronzer on top for it to really show off on photograph, especially on flash photography. But how about you guys? Have you tried this liquid contours? And what shade are you planning to try? Comment down below. And if you find this video helpful, please don't forget to like this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll always be updated once a new video is out. Thank you so much, Charles, again for watching, and I'll see you on my next one.